Well, it's a threat that no foreigner in South Africa wants to hear. Leave our country or be killed. That threat is being put into action today by angry South Africans who say foreigners have taken over their jobs and have started attacking them on the streets. The latest target is Nigerians. But with the experience of such attacks 2 years ago, almost all foreign nationals in that country are on high alert. For Ghanaians, they refuse to come out of their homes for fear of being attacked. Very shortly, we'll go live to that country and speak to some of those in the situation. But earlier today, a demonstration against the act was scuttled by police in South Africa. And those are the pictures that you're seeing on the screen right now. Well, as you watch all of those pictures, back home, there's a strong action to ensure that not a single Ghanaian blood is spilled in the name of xenophobic attacks. Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, has directed Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayako-Botchwey to immediately brief Parliament on measures in place to prevent any Ghanaian from being attacked.
In view of the foregoing, there is an increased level of apprehension within the Ghanaian community in Gauteng, who, bearing in mind the 2015 incidents, are uncertain about the future. Our mission in Pretoria has instituted a number of measures as follows. 1. The mission has visited many shops owned by Ghanaians in the sunny suburb of Pretoria, informing them of the developments and the need to activate all early warning signals using social media groups to provide information in advance of any attacks. Pretoria shop owners have been directed to close their shops immediately the threats are deemed as imminent. The Ghanaian community in Mamelodi, where the march against foreigners will take place today, has also been advised not to open their businesses today and remain indoors whilst awaiting the all-clear signal from community leaders and the mission. The mission has also written a note verbal to the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, requesting their continued protection of Ghanaian nationals and all non-South African nationals as well as their businesses. The mission has, in addition to its official numbers, introduced a 24-hour mobile hotline that can also be accessed via the social media and by telephone, including WhatsApp. The number is exclusively for any information relating to the xenophobic attacks, and so far we have had a few calls. A team from the High Commission traveling to the Eastern Cape in connection with passport services have been adequately briefed in relation to the mission's general advice to Ghanaian nationals. Mr. Speaker, our checks indicated that no Ghanaian nationals or their businesses has been affected in the recent attacks. Mr. Speaker, our embassy in Pretoria and the Foreign Ministry would continue to monitor the situation and update the country appropriately.
Well, that's Foreign Affairs Minister Shirley Ayako-Botchwey in Parliament today. South Africa's High Commissioner to Ghana is also to be summoned to address Parliament on the matter. Foreign Minister Shirley Ayako-Botchwey has been speaking to the media in the wake of the threats that Ghanaians in South Africa face.
That may be the last resort. It's important that when something like that happens, especially, it's not the first time that it's happening, it needs to be taken up at a higher level. So my suggestion will be that ECOWAS Ministers of Foreign Affairs take it up. Also, we take it up at the level of the heads of states, and then extend it to the AU heads of state, because like my colleague said, we were all we stood in solidarity with the people of South Africa when they were going through their difficult times of apartheid. And therefore, it is quite sad that today, through all the efforts that we've all extended towards the abolition of apartheid, this should be happening to our nationals or foreign nationals in South Africa, especially when we are looking at uniting the continent. The African Union is looking at the issue of all of us coming together as a continent and putting our efforts and putting our efforts together to ensure that we all benefit as a continent, in terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of sharing our human resource, so that if we have a free trade area, we can all trade amongst ourselves. If we have free movement, we can move, and that is the ultimate that we are seeking, that we can move amongst, throughout each other's country without any hindrances. Of course, subject to the laws of our countries. So I think that we should look at it at that level as well. This boycotting South African products would be the last resort, and it will be something that will be decided at a very high level, not at our level. So it needs for us to talk about it, have an open conversation about what is happening, so that we can all find solutions to it. It will be a very last resort. I don't think we should be talking about that now.
Madam, you are talking about the collective.
It will be a very last resort, boycotting South African products and services. That's what she's talking about. But that was actually in response to a concern raised or suggestion made by Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is in the studio with me. He'll bring us in on that conversation. But let me also tell you that we can go live now to South Africa and speak to a Ghanaian resident there, Akosia Champoma. Hello, Akosia. Thank you very much for holding.
Hi, Gitsi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Would you be able to tell us the situation right now as it is there?
Currently, when you go to town, it looks like today the South Africans were actually based on the Nigerians. They were ready to attack the Nigerians instead of the
other nationals.
Instead of the other communities, and so the Nigerians were ready. There was a video out there. They were ready to retaliate with them. But currently on the streets, Mandela Street, about 2 hours ago, the protesters actually wanted to get into people's shop, but the police were trying to stop them, and it was very bad. It was a bad situation that no one should witness. So currently they haven't killed anybody. Okay. Everyone is safe because all shops are closed. Everyone is in the house. You don't have to go out if you love your life.
Okay.
So yeah, basically that's what they had. They had a misunderstanding with some media houses, and they took away their cameras and all that. But the police was able to get it back for the media houses. Yeah.
Well, sounds like a good report there. But do they know? You talk about they trying to attack or having a specific area of attack. They want to attack the Nigerians. But is it easy to tell, for instance, where the Nigerians live, or where Ghanaians live, or where Sierra Leoneans live? Or is it a mixed community? How are they able to tell that we're going to the Nigerians, that they are here?
You know, when you come to South Africa, especially the city of Pretoria, people who live in this part of the city, should I say, it's like you go to UTC. People who are there actually know, they know themselves very well because they interrupt every time. Okay. And when you go to the part of Pretoria, where a place called Sunnyside, there are a lot of foreigners there, and those they actually know, okay, this person is a Nigerian, because this is a Nigerian shop, this is a Ghanaian shop. You understand what I mean? Yeah. So when the moment they get there, they know who they're going to attack.
Okay. Have you been told when you can go out?
No, they actually brought a notice that they are doing the protest today. So we are just hoping that tomorrow will be safe for everyone to go out. I'm not sure it's confirmed yet because they can do anything at any time. Okay. So we are just hoping that we could step out tomorrow to go on our normal business. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Akosia Champoma. We hope that you keep safe and that you deal with whatever trauma it will cause you or your children. Akosia Champoma is a Ghanaian living in South Africa, and Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is here with me. Joseph, good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Yourself?
Okay. Not bad at all. Let's talk about Muntaka Mubarak and what he had to say about this xenophobic attacks.
It's interesting how things played out in the House earlier today in connection with this particular concern with the xenophobic attacks. Per the plan that the House had, it wasn't on the agenda.
Okay.
Today they were debating the State of the Nation's address. Right. In the middle of it, the Speaker, Professor Michael Kwe, indicated that there's an emergency address from the Foreign Affairs Minister that has to be delivered to the House because she needed to update the House on the situation in South Africa and the possible impact on Ghanaians. Okay. And so excerpts of that are what we heard, and her indicating that all the measures have been put in place, the hotlines have been opened in order to ensure that Ghanaians who feel threatened could get through and then they could be taken to safety. Okay. When she was done, then the Speaker opened the floor and indicated that members can contribute, but he rightly made the point that he thinks it's a very sensitive topic, and so he's asking members to be careful the kind of comments that they would utter so that then it doesn't in the end affect Ghanaians there and the South Africans get into and it's creating problems for them. Okay. Muntaka said that, well, he's taking a cue from that, but he thinks that the truth needs to be told and the South Africans need to be told in their faces that what they are doing is completely out of place. He thinks that in order to send the right signal out to the South African government and the South African people that Africa in general is not ready to allow them to continue doing what they are doing, he thinks that it's time that Ghanaians boycott South African products and that Africans as a whole also did the same boycott. He said that him personally.
Did he get any to that?
Yes.
So there seems to be some kind of support in the House for that kind of suggestion.
Yes, exactly. Some of the members of Parliament give the indication that they appear to support this, and he indicated that himself he started that boycott since 2015. You know, the Pan-African Parliament. They have it's based actually in South Africa, and so usually they go there for the meeting of the Pan-African Parliament. He says anytime he goes to South Africa, he doesn't buy anything apart from the food and the water that needs to keep him alive. So he thinks others should take a cue from that.
So the Foreign Affairs Minister, of course, has giving the House what they've told Ghanaians in South Africa to do. So we can perhaps leave that conversation. Let's look at other matters in Parliament today. Did they finish with the the State of the Nation address debate? Did they finish?
No. So it continued today, but it will continue again on Tuesday and even on Wednesday. So they would wrap up on Wednesday, and then we would hear the closing remarks on that from the majority and the minority leader ahead of the budget statement, which is supposed to come up on Thursday. Okay. And today a number of issues came up. For example, the majority leader in the debates when it comes to the State of the Nation's address, he raised issues with what he thinks was a lot of heckling that happened when President Akufo-Addo was speaking in the House. Yes.
But this is not a one-sided thing. How did the minority react?
It's interesting. He makes the point that heckling is allowed in Parliament, but he thinks the case involving Nana Akufo-Addo was an excessive kind of heckling that he saw. And subsequent to that, he gave a directive. He's the leader of the House. Right. That when it comes to the budget statement that's supposed to be delivered, usually they come up. That's next week. Usually they come up with all of these placards, signaling maybe a bad economy or one thing or the other. He says that is against parliamentary procedure, and they're going to enforce that on Thursday. And so he's cautioning any member from coming up with anything like that. The minority leader appears to agree with the suggestion, although Haruna Idrisu rightly points out that this form of heckling and the use of the placards are things that were done in the past, even when the current majority was in the minority. But he agrees that it's about time that they bring some level of decorum to Parliament when it comes to their proceedings, and so they'll be guided by the advice, that's how he called it, that the leader of the House had given going into the Thursday debate.
I see. So Thursday we're seeing the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta come there, very soft-spoken person, of course, so he probably won't do very well with too much heckling.
Well, the minority, like, even in acknowledging that they will take the advice and cut down on it, indicated that as far as he's concerned, when, for example, they realize that the budget statement is bad and they shout bad budget or they use any other local language to express that, that is something that they can expect, although they will be as decorous as
okay.
So the heckling can still be
The heckling will be there. Okay, so we should expect that. Gakpo, stay with me a little longer because we want to talk about something interesting. We're looking at punctuality. So, have you ever invited someone to a program and they ask GMT or GMT, essentially meaning Ghana Man time or Greenwich Meridian time? Well, this description seems to have come to stay, as it appears that many Ghanaians consider turning up late to events and meetings or never being specific with timing for any invitation the norm. At best, you get a time range like 1:32 or 2:33, which eventually becomes an hour later. Well, President Akufo-Addo has weighed into the discussion on punctuality and has pledged to live by example. That pledge was contained in his first State of the Nation address, at which he was on time. Here is the president on being punctual.
There are some areas of our lives in which we can all demonstrate the change for which the people of Ghana have voted. Punctuality, sanitation, and the care of the environment. Over the years, it has become acceptable practice that official functions invariably start and close late. We invite people to functions for 9 a.m. and start at 10 a.m. I've heard some offer the preposterous excuse that there is something cultural about not paying attention to time. Mr. Speaker, let us all show that we acknowledge the change has indeed come by being punctual to functions, and I intend to set a personal example.
President Akufo-Addo there. So as the executive takes the lead in punctuality, we've been testing the legislature's timing. Well, between yesterday and today, the chamber has been almost empty at times when the Speaker of Parliament has taken his seat. So here are some pictures of what Parliament looked like today at the commencement of business.
In this particular case, you should say that the Minister for Interior made a statement, but we all know who he is. On the other hand, if you still want to add, the order should be the Minister for Interior and MP for Nandong. That will capture the sense. He's doing so in his capacity as a minister. He also visited the area which was recently engulfed in crisis. So it was a chieftaincy conflict in Bembla. He was coming to apprise us of. He visited the site, he saw the things, and he was reporting back to this house. So it should be the Minister for Interior and MP for Nandong who brings, yes. And the capturing of the uprising, it should not just be general uprising, it should be that in this particular case, you should say that the Minister for Interior made a statement, but we all know who he is. On the other hand, if you still want to add, the order should be the Minister for Interior and MP for Nandong. That will capture the sense. He's doing so in his capacity as a minister. He also visited the area which was recently engulfed in crisis. So it was a chieftaincy conflict in Bembla. He was coming to apprise us of. He visited the site, he saw the things, and he was reporting back to this house. So it should be the Minister for Interior .
That is actually how Parliament looked today, earlier. Joseph is still here with me. And there's, oh, that was yesterday. That was yesterday. But today was similar.
It was actually similar. So usually the House is supposed to start sitting at 10 o'clock. But most of the times, sitting ends up starting around 11:30, sometimes 12, sometimes 12:30. That has been the trend over the years.
But it's supposed to start at 10.
It's supposed to start at 10. But after President Akufo-Addo made that point during his State of the Nation's address, things appear to have changed. And so on Wednesday, when the House met, and indicated that the debate on the State of the Nation address was starting on Thursday. He was very specific that they will be starting at exactly 10 o'clock as was expected. But both days, that's yesterday and today, when the speaker was in the chamber a few minutes after 10, sometimes I think 3 minutes after 10, that was today. Yesterday was 5 minutes after 10. Around that time, a lot of the members were not present when the sitting began. I've been speaking to some members of parliament about the new direction that the president is asking them to go and how they feel.
Which really shouldn't be new. So here's what some of the members of parliament have to say about whether or not they turn up early or late.
I am very, very glad and thankful to the president for making that call. Time is of the essence. The difference between poverty and richness or greatness is time. It's the only thing that we all have equal. You know, the rich has 24 hours, the poor has 24 hours, and it is the time that makes the difference between. If you choose to use your time to sleep, and I use mine to work, imagine what is going to happen. Some people say your input determines your output. If you put in more, you get more. If you put in less, you get less. In fact, when I joined Parliament, and you see that when we were supposed to start, deliberations by 10 o'clock and people are coming 11, 12, I was very, very concerned.
Sometimes the House eventually starts around 12 o'clock.
African punctuality.
How come? Why was it so?
Well, I don't know. I'm new, so probably there's the customs or people have other things to do. And of course, sometimes it's justifiable because you go for committee meetings and other things before you come into the House. But as a house, as an institution, even though people may come in late because they have other important things to attend to, I think we have to make sure we adjust the time to start here at 10 o'clock. We don't have to wait for the fact that whether people are in or not. So I am very happy because African punctuality has been killing us for too long. So I'm glad that the president is going to lead, the speaker is following, all of us are going to follow. Today I was on the program in the morning, but I told the people I cannot go all the way up to 10 o'clock. I need to leave at 10:45 so I can make it to Parliament by 10. And I was late, actually, I was about 5 minutes late. So that is what we are supposed to do because that's the only way we can actually use the resources of the country, including time, to move this country forward. And I am very happy that we are beginning to set the tone for a change. Change has indeed come, and Nana-Addo is leading it, and we're all going to actually support. We thank the president for his actual leadership in this African punctuality concept. It will be a thing of the past, I hope.
For me, today has been a great day in my life because since I came to the floor of this house, today is the only day that business of the house has commenced on exactly 10 a.m. The president, yes, I was there, and the president did indicate that change has come, and change should reflect on our punctuality. And for me, what the leader demonstrated today is an indication that from tomorrow onwards, members of the House will come to the floor of the House at exactly a little before 10 a.m. because when the speaker came, people were surprised that for the first time the speaker has come on time, and most of the people were not on seat. But as soon as they heard that the speaker has arrived on time and business has commenced, everybody was coming in to see whether, in fact, time is of essence now. So I believe that one thing that the president has done that has awakened the punctuality spirit of the House, of the floor of the House, is punctuality. And I believe that moving forward as members of Parliament, when we are invited for any program, we need to set the ball rolling.
Those are some members of Parliament. They're expressing their views on what they think or what they believe the punctuality drive that President Akufo-Addo has started will do, how it will go in Parliament, which is, of course, one of the key arms of government. Of course, the Rotary in Ghana are embarking on a punctuality and time management project. We'll talk to them briefly, but let me wrap up with Gakpo so he can leave us. Gakpo, so do you get the sense that there's punctuality really in Parliament today?
Yesterday, today, that has actually been the case because right now, for example, today, when the speaker started the sitting a little after 10 o'clock, I did a head count. We had only about 30 MPs on the floor, but he went ahead and started the session. And looks like he's leading the way.
So that will perhaps make them come early?
They would be forced to come early. Whether
Tuesday?
We look forward to them coming at 10 o'clock. And business starting then.
Thank you very much, Gakpo. Joseph Opoku Gakpo is our parliamentary correspondent. Like we say, we're testing what the executive is doing in Parliament legislature. Well, let me go over the telephone line and speak with William Ofori. He's past president of Rotary Club Airport. Thank you very much, sir, for holding. You're welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you very much. Okay. And excited to be talking about this punctuality project.
All right. We're talking about punctuality because we're looking at the bigger picture. Why is it necessary that you embark on this kind of project?
I think, first of all, let me just give you a little background on this punctuality project. So it was initiated by the current district governor, Sam Warren Tetu.
And you'd make it brief for me.
Pardon me?
Do make it brief for me, please.
Yes, I'll make it brief. So he actually started this punctuality project, and it was launched on the 25th of October. So what this is all about is to drive the culture of punctuality nationwide, in every sector. And we actually want to have partners and, you know, the whole civil society embarking on this, because we think it is the bedrock of a nation being efficient and also being productive.
Okay. Would you say from what you said that we've got the system, society, the Ghanaian society has got the system to support punctuality? It appears traffic, other issues make it very difficult for people to be punctual.
I think, first of all, it starts with a culture, a national culture. So certain organizations, yes, have imbibed that culture in everything they do, and it works. In other organizations, they don't. But as a nation in general, we don't. And it starts from the grassroots, from the youth, but also from the leadership. And that's what Rotary is trying to do. And we're very happy that the president actually highlighted this as one of the areas where he really wants to emphasize. And it's a pity what we saw in Parliament, but if we all start to talk about it, like Rotary has begun, I think that it would change. And if people go to functions and start, whether, you know, people are punctual or not, we believe that that would help. So this is the Rotary initiative, and we think that we're going to run it nationwide with you as partners, the media, the public officers, and hopefully 4 years' time, we'll be talking a different story.
Hopefully, 4 years' time, we'll talk a different story. Thank you very much, William. William Ofori is past president of Rotary Club Airport, talking to us about time management and punctuality. This is still The Pulse.